Two great presenters for us to go through. Firstly, Ashley Jones on the left. Ashley has a Master of Science in Human Movement. He's the current strength and conditioning coach for the Australian Rugby Union, formerly S&C for the All Blacks 2005 to 2007, strength and conditioning coach for Canterbury Rugby Union 2003-2004, and the Canterbury Crusaders 2004 to 2000. Joining him, current Waratah strength and conditioning coach Tom Tomlinson. Tom's the former S&C at Sydney Uni and the head of physical performance at Oxford University Blues Rugby. Current competitive Olympic weightlifter, and prior to that he's a professional rugby player in the UK, Randwick first grade, an England Sevens representative back home, so he's also well qualified.
We're going to start with the snatch exercise. I find the snatch exercise the best to teach, and I find it very, very easy to find out how athletic a person is after about 5 or 10 minutes of actually using the snatch exercise. Also find a lot of people catch on fairly quickly with the snatch because you don't have to worry about the catch and the clean, which we'll spend a bit of time looking at as well. A couple of prerequisites, first and foremost, for the snatch movement is the ability to do an overhead squat in snatch position.
Okay, so you'll have to get the bar up any way you can, but once you're in the overhead position, I think the best way to lock the bar out is to try and take the biceps forward a little bit, so there's no give in the elbows. If you do that, if there's any shake on the bar, you're still going to be locking the bar out. And then from there, just as you would do a normal squat, feet just outside of hip width, toes just reared out, let the bar elevate on the sort of the back side of the head, and then just descend down through the heel. And bearing what soft tissue strength you've got, you'll be exposed pretty quickly when you get towards the bottom. But the general premise once the bar is overhead is the same principle you do for any full length squat.
Just be aware of limitations through the upper thoracic area. It's actually an extremely good thoracic mobilization exercise. You don't have to use the Olympic bar, which is 20 kilograms. There are these plastic rods here you can use as well to get started. And really, that's the first move we really want to get through to see what your mobility is in that position. Take yourself nice and slowly into the position. Most people will tend to have too narrow a stance. The mirrors are the worst possible thing to perform Olympic weightlifting in front of. They actually drag you in, and you tend to actually go onto the balls of your feet. Ideally, in this sort of lifting, you're actually being coached and corrected as you're going. So another person provides the feedback. You don't need the mirrors to provide the feedback. Also, what also tends to occur, the movement starts to slow down. And that's the last thing you want when you perform any form of Olympic style movement, is that bar speed to decrease. The next one we're going to do is a pressing snatch balance. Again, taking a grip on the bar and the snatch grip. Now this can be done in either the squat stance, which I'll demonstrate first, and the split stance. So from there, what you're trying to do is slowly press the bar above the head at the same time you descend into the squat, and trying to lock the arms out at the top of the range of motion as you get to the deep squat position. So again from there, chest up, looking straight ahead, don't look down, looking straight ahead, and slowly press the bar above your head and lock it into position. And then stand up. Again from split. Same deal. In that position there. That was the pressing snatch balance. We go to the heaving snatch balance. Okay, all of these terminology written down in your notes. So the heaving snatch balance is you're in squat stance. From here, you dip to your heels, drive up, at the same time you drop under the bar. So it has been called a drop snatch beforehand, but the terminology is slightly different, depends where you go from it. You Americans call it drop snatch. So from here, dip, drive, up. And under. That's the heave. The full snatch balance is where you start your feet in pull and you end in squat. So if you watch my feet, from the pull stance, and now purposes. Now the athlete can perform the movement in real time.
It's good teaching progression. I think the key point also in the pressing movements and snatch balance is that when doing the pressing snatch balance, you want to make sure that as you descend, you're not going to forget the direction of the bar that you're pressing in. You don't want to be pressing it out. So as you saw, when Ashley was doing this, he cocked his elbows under the bar, and when he went down and he gradually pressed overhead, he wasn't pressing this way, which would take him off his heels and then you wouldn't even get to the bottom of the lift. So he cocked it, released the muscles on the front of his chest, and just let his wrists and his elbows stay in the line of the bar. Okay, so snatch balance that.
7 speed.
The main thing this is, imagine the bar stays at the same height the whole time and you're pushing your body under the bar.